It went in here and out right here, the other side of my neck.
Oh my God.
Right through the shoulder. In right through the neck, out through the shoulder here.
Okay.
So what they said was that it missed my spinal cord by like a few centimeters. But what happened was the bullet just caused so much damage and ricocheted all through my spine that it damaged so many nerves that I was a C7 spinal cord injury, incomplete. I had no idea what that meant.
Yeah.
I just thought, okay, so what does that mean? Like, when can I go home? Yeah, you're not gonna go home. You're either gonna stay here and rehab, or you're gonna probably go to a nursing home. Okay, yeah, that's funny. When am I gonna go home? Because I'm gonna walk out of here. You don't know me. I'm walking out of here. Okay, all right. So they bring counselors in and all kind of stuff. Like, we need to like really get a grasp on this, because she thinks she's leaving, walking out of here. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. So I slowly, come to grips with what is actually going on, but I really didn't. In the back of my mind, I just felt like it wasn't a reality to me. It wasn't a reality. And I think because I constantly had friends and family and surrounded by so many people that loved me, that I couldn't really fully wrap my head around my future. I couldn't fully wrap my head around that I was never going to walk again. I remember the first movement that I had was I could put my finger up to my nose, because we were changing seasons. So it was going from late September. This happened September 27th to October. So it started getting a little bit colder outside. So I remember I had sniffles, and the first thing I can do was wipe my nose. And we celebrated that like it was.
Whoa. So you wasn't even able to move your hands?
Nothing. I could move nothing.
Paralyzed from the neck down. So C7 is paralyzed from the neck down.
Yes.
Wow.
I could move nothing. The first movement I had was to wipe my nose. Then I think my mom knew she's an anomaly. She's going to get through it. I know it. I know she's going to get through this. I don't know if you remember, but they have these chairs in the hospital when you're paralyzed. They're super long in the back. Like, they come up to
I know.
Yeah, the top of your head.
Yeah.
And then your leg, you're strapped in. Yeah, you're strapped in everywhere. I guess it's for tone. Like, you know how you have all that tone, so your leg will kind of jump off the chair, and you don't want to slide off the chair. Because that's not a good look. So I'm, constantly strapped in these chairs, right? And the second thing that I can do was wiggle my toes. And I remember sitting there with my mom, and we were eating something. I don't remember what she was actually feeding me, because I could wipe my nose, but I couldn't actually, feed myself. And it's important to remember that during that time that you're just laying there, you're getting weaker and weaker and weaker. Your body is atrophied. You're losing weight. You're losing muscle. All you have is just that skin there, and it's just this weakness. Even though they come in once a day to try to help you move those limbs, you're still just getting weaker. So I remember saying, Mom, I think I could feel my feet. I can wiggle my toes. I think. She said, wiggle them. She pulls the blanket off my foot, and she says, wiggle them. And I moved my foot like in a circular motion. And we just cried and cried and cried. It was so incredible. Like, I was like, okay, all right. But I was still slumping into that depression. I was every day that I would see people come and go, just like I wanted to do. I would just get deeper and deeper, because these little monumental things that seem monumental in that moment were so small in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So small. Okay, you can move your foot around. Okay, but what's next? Halloween's coming up. Can you take your kids trick-or-treating? That's all I kept thinking about. So I decided that day that as soon as, we don't want to cry, that as soon as everybody left, that I was going to take all the medication, because I could reach it now, and I was going to end my life, because I was not going to live my life like that. We weren't making progress fast enough. It wasn't good enough for me. And I felt like it was a battle that I did not want to fight. like I felt like it was too hard for me, even though, you know, you go through so many things. Sometimes it's like, this is something that I don't want to do. This one's just too hard. So the funny thing is that I was never alone. No one ever left. No one ever left my side. So I sat there and I like cursed God, and I was like, I hate you. I hate you. Look what you did to me. You took my life. Now I cannot walk, and now you won't leave me alone so I can finish the job that you couldn't do. And I was never alone. And ever since then, I rehabbed, and they would come to my home, and guess what? I didn't leave that hospital walking just like I said I would. I didn't leave that hospital walking. They gave me a brand new spanking lime green wheelchair, custom fit to my body, and I was like, oh man.
You went through all the whole process, the measurements and everything.
Measurements and everything, and
So
that's
how long were you in rehab, and how long did you take?
6 months.
6 months.
6 months, and that was real to me when they started taking my measurements and customizing me for a chair.
Mm-hmm.
I said, man, I'm going to be in a chair. I'm going home in a wheelchair. This is happening, showing me how to transfer. And I remember being happy to be able to leave the hospital and go home. But then I was like, then what? Then what? Here I was, you know, on a schedule and rehabbing every single day around the clock. And now I'm going to go home, and then what? So I remember getting my custom fancy chair, leaving the hospital, them showing my parents how to transfer me. Their grown adult child, them having to pick me up and transfer me, and then you get home and they have to pick you up and transfer you into the tub. And oh man, it was so rough. Like, I think that I have like no shame left. Like,
yeah, no, I know what you mean. Wow. So you get home, and now how does that process look? Because I'm sure your home wasn't wheelchair accessible. Like,
it wasn't. We had to get a place before then. So you know how you're at rehab and then you have day visits. So during those day visits is when we were looking. So I was on my own. I had to move back with my parents, so they were able to help me. And then we were looking for a place that was, you know, accessible through garage, through whatever. And that's what we did. And then when it was finally time for me to go home, we went into that new home. And I remember them coming, and they put the belt on you, and you know that, what's it called? That big heavy belt to help you just stand.
The standing, the tilt table.
It wasn't a table though. It was just a belt. Yeah, it was just like
on the tilt table. So it's like a thing, and then boom, the belt. It's called the tilt table, and then they put the belt over you to keep strapped in on the tilt table.
Right. So it's just that belt. So when they come and they help you, you know, stand for a little bit, and then you get dizzy, and then just little by little, I just made these little tiny steps. And I remember every time I took a step, it felt like bricks, cinder blocks taped to my feet. Every time I took a step, sweat pouring down my face every time I took just one step. Yeah. But I knew that each and every single step was going to get me more steps. And maybe I could take 2 today, then I'd take 3 tomorrow, then the next day I would take 4, and then it would just keep going and going and going.
So pause for a second. So you were able to take one step. You was able to stand up when you went. So where's that process happen? Like, when was you able to like stand up and take a step from wiping your nose, and then now to coming home and being able to get up and stand up? Like, what?
So
gradual, like it was just gradual, little by little.
It seemed like it was gradual, but I mean, hindsight is 20/20, and I felt like it wasn't. I felt like once I shifted that mind to where, okay, you are going back to living with your parents, with your family, your own family that you had in your own home. Yeah. You are going back to living with your parents because you need the help. Once I had that mindset to, this is not going to be my life. It will not be my life. I think that shift, when that shift connects to everything else, I mean, miracles happen. Miracles happen. And it's not, you know, everyone's miracle is different, I think, you know. Mine was this. But I think that a miracle can just take place in your heart. A miracle could just take place in your mind. And I think that, you know, it happens for everyone, but it happens differently, obviously, for everyone. And my first thing was standing up, being able to stand and not fall down with that belt on. Then I was able to, you know, take a step. And at first I remember the nurses having to kind of like lift my leg.
Oh, it's like the garter belt, I think his name.
There you go.
Yeah. Thing they held on. I think it's the garter belt. Yeah.
Yes. So then those steps turned into me now having a walker.